Welcome back to the Hawkeye Garage. I am Joe. The title of the video pretty much sums up what we're going to be doing, so let's get right to it. Yep, so we are starting with my wife's Diamondback Hardtail. It's about, I don't know, 8 years old at this point, I suppose. We bought it new from Dick's. It's been a pretty good bike for her. It's a 27.5 inch. It started life as a 21 speed, 24 speed. It's gone through a little bit of change that we're going to talk about as we get into some more of the changes. It's an XC bike. It's got fairly good geometry. It fits her pretty well. We're just going to try to add a few things to make it a little bit nicer to ride. Let's talk about a couple of the changes that I've already made in the past to help make this a little bit more enjoyable bike to ride. I went ahead and swapped the bars out for a wider set of handlebars. Currently it's running some P&Ws at 760 mil wide. I really like P&W bars. The rise, the angle that they come back and up, it works. Really like it. I swapped out, she had a really long stem. It was, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 mil long stem. So I've got a nice 40 degree one on there with zero rise. So it brought it back, bars out wider. The rise in the bars brought her up a little bit. Just makes it more comfortable to ride. I had originally swapped the drivetrain to a 1x drivetrain. This came with the shifter and brake levers all in one. It already had disc brakes on it, 160 mil brakes, which are good. They're cable brakes. Maybe we'll upgrade that in the future. Like probably a lot of you, she struggled with which shifter do I use when, and going to a 1x system makes life so much easier, makes it so much more enjoyable to ride. So I went ahead and chopped the derailleur, the front derailleur off and all those gears, and I got inexpensive, I believe this is a 32 tooth narrow wide oval chain ring. It's a 104 pattern, pretty standard, got it off Amazon. I've used these before in the past. Used the Factory Sun Tour press tapered crankset, and that helped a lot for her because she just had one shifter, even though she only had 8 speeds in the back and the gear range wasn't fantastic. We're going to address that in this video. Those are big improvements. And moving out back, we have some more changes coming up in this video. Starting out back, again, thankfully this bike came equipped with a free hub body on the rear hub. Now, it always squeaked. Even from when it was new, it squeaked. It sounded like this awful like rubber on rubber sound. I had taken it to our actual local bike shop, not just back to Dick's, and had them go through the hub, grease it and stuff. And anytime someone was riding it and you were coasting, it made that awful squeaking noise. So strangely enough, it's actually kind of hard to find just a generic low-end hub, I guess. So I finally found one on eBay and had my local bike shop. I tore down the wheel and I was going to relace it myself, but I just didn't want to deal with it, so I took it to them, had them relace it, torque everything down, make sure the wheel was straight, had them go through the hub because it was a used one, and grease that, torque everything properly. And now we have that installed along with this 9-speed micro shift cassette. It is 11 to 42 tooth cassette. It's 9-speed. 10-speed would have been really nice. I don't think it would have fit on here. I have a 9-speed on my full suspension, and I think it works really great where we are in Iowa. And this actually even has a bigger low speed, so she'll have better climbing capability with that 42 tooth. I have 12 speed on my Roscoe. Personally, I think 12 speeds is too much for where we live. As long as you have a nice wide range over, for gaining speed downhill or on flat areas, and have a nice climbing gear for what we're going to be doing, for what she's going to be doing, this is going to be perfect. It's not too many gears to deal with, and again, she'll have real ease with that 42 tooth to be able to go up inclines. So we've got that. I've also replaced, this has got quick release axles front and rear. I have swapped out the quick releases with these quick release skewers. It's essentially the same thing, but it got rid of the little flippy lock switch on one end. You can use an Allen wrench on both sides. It cleans things up. It looks nicer. You can torque them down a little bit more properly instead of having to try and guess how tight you get it and then flip it and then, oh, that's too loose, that's too tight, unflip it, screw it again. These are on Amazon, they're really cheap. Seth from Burn Peak started using these on his flip bike, which is kind of lower end type mountain bike XC bikes. And I got a set, and I've got another bike that uses these. I'm going to be getting another set for that bike as well. Cleans things up. It's a really good, not maybe necessity, but it's something nice to have on a bike like this. To go with that micro shift rear cassette, of course, we're going to be pairing it with micro shift 9-speed derailleur and shifter. So we're just going to go ahead, it goes on using the same derailleur hanger, and of course, obviously it's going to work with that cassette. We've got that on there. Hopefully the chain still fits. Since it went from a 3x to a 1x, I can't remember if I changed that chain. If not, I'm sure I've got another one, or we'll pick up another chain. Like I said, it's getting old anyway. Might be time for a new one. But we'll get that on there. And nice quiet hub. I know my wife doesn't really like the obnoxiously loud hubs like what mine has, so I think this will be very nice, and it has a pretty good engagement. So next we'll move up front and work on getting the shifter installed and talk about those shifter brake lever combos and how you can easily get away from that. First of all, save these. Save both sets, save your cassette, save your derailleurs. Yes, I chopped up the front chain rings to get them off because I think they were riveted on, if memory serves. But you can put these on Facebook and you'll be able to recoup some of your money, because somebody always is rebuilding a bike in their family, or they've got a broken piece. 20, 30, 40 bucks for the set. I've sold a couple of these sets before from other bikes that I've upgraded. But yeah, they're big and bulky. So an easy way to get around this would be to upgrade to hydraulic brakes, obviously, if you're going to do that, and then you'll need a separate shifter anyway. Or if you're not going to hydraulic brakes just yet, what you can do is hop online and get a set of just standalone cable brake levers. These are extremely cheap. They're readily available. And I had these on hand from another build that I did that I ended up going to hydraulic. And I had already changed the front brake to one of these when I eliminated the front derailleur. So I have these. I'm just going to go ahead and slide that on. I've already run my cables back through. We have the MicroShift Advent shifter. It already comes with a cable installed, and we're just going to run that cable through the housing, get all this installed on here. Just like that, and of course I'll finish running all the cables and doing all the setup after the fact off camera. You guys don't care to watch me do that. Last year I also gave her a better set of grips. The factory grips on these were terrible. These are, I don't even know how I would pronounce that name, but I got them off Amazon. They have a nice pattern. They come in several colors. They come with plastic end caps. They are single clamp, so they stay put. These are actually extremely comfortable. If I was being completely honest with myself, I prefer these over my P&W grips, but they're just a really nice grip. The fact that they have plastic end caps, you need to have end caps on your bars. Worst case scenario, if you were to fall over and the outside of your hand got over there, you don't have something on there, that end of that handlebar could definitely take a cookie cutter chunk out of your hand or anything else that is hitting. The nice part about the plastic ends, if you hit something, unlike my P&W ones, you're probably not going to mess up the end of the grip because it's all fully enclosed. It's going to mess up that plastic cap, and you can get another set of plastic caps to fit on there. Which brings us to our last and one of my most favorite introductory bike mods, and one that I think makes the biggest impact: tires. Okay, I cannot recommend replacing your tires enough. What are my recommendations? If you are just kind of a weekend warrior mountain biker, go as wide as you can for the wheels that you have. Now, that is going to open up a whole can of worms on like what size wheels do you have and what size tires should you actually get, and are tires sized slightly differently across brands even though they're the same number? The answer to that is yes. It's just like clothing. The same shoe size in one brand may not necessarily fit you as another brand. It's kind of the same thing with tires. What I have ended up with is these are some E13 TRS tires. They are kind of a cross-country tire, 27.5 by 2.35. These are pretty narrow wheels. They're 20 mil wide wheels. I don't know if that's outer or inner, but it's pretty narrow. I wouldn't want to go really any wider than that. These have a nice mild tread down the middle, which is going to help for riding the bike just on a bike path. It's going to make it nicer just riding it on the streets, on the sidewalk. It's going to help her carry her speed, not that she was going to want to go fast, but on times that she wants to keep her speed going. I'm talking about scrubbing off speed, basically slowing down faster than you want to in between curves or obstacles on a trail, or just in general on the street. You don't want to have, coast and slow down so fast because of the aggressiveness of your tire without even having to touch your brakes. So this is going to help carry speed, not necessarily make her go faster, but it also has some nice traction on the edges for when she does need to turn on a trail. Those are going to really dig in and add traction. Also, having a wider tire, if you've gone from a narrow tire to a wider tire, you will know that it adds a massive amount of stability. Like, I can't even tell you how much I was shocked the first time I went from like a 2.2 to a 2.4 tire. It makes riding the bike so much more enjoyable. It gives a little bit more cushion, so it feels really nice, and it adds a lot of stability. If you're okay, my wife's not going to be doing this, but if you're going to be riding manuals or riding wheelies or being up on one tire, it is such a huge difference. That little bit wider tire gives you stability side to side. It's really awesome. So we're going to try these tires out. We're not going tubeless. I'm not going to deal with that on these wheels. They're not tubeless wheels, obviously, and I just not going to deal with that. Tubes are perfectly fine. Yes, it'd be lighter without the tubes, but they're not huge tubes like those 2.8s on my Roscoe. And it'll just be easier to maintain in the long run. Well, that pretty much wraps the video up. I took it for a quick test ride. It's working really well. I am gonna have to put a longer chain on it. I have a longer chain, so it's not a big deal. Then I'll final tune the shifting. The tires, I'm having a weird hard time getting them to seat properly. They're like seating further in on one side, and like so when they spin, it seems like they're kind of wobbly. I know that's because I'm probably running too wide of a tire for the wheel, but they should still come out. I've tried higher pressure, lower pressure. I rode it with me being heavier than her. I did some bunny hops and stuff trying to kind of seat them in. If you have an idea on how to fix that, I've tried rolling them to come out. I'm not explaining that very well, but if you've had that issue, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you have a fix for it. Please put that in the comments down below. Couple things real quick. You're probably wondering, why didn't I upgrade the pedals? She's not a super aggressive rider, so she doesn't need pedals with steel pegs in them for grip. That's just gonna do her more damage than good, so I didn't need to worry about that. And the crankset, the square taper, I didn't change that to a through design, because really the only benefit you're getting from that is lighter weight. She doesn't need the strength for that, because she's not doing super aggressive riding and she's not super heavy. So we don't have to worry about that. If it gets cruddy in the future and like I need to take it apart and clean it, grease it, or it just gets bad in general, then I'll probably swap to that. There's really good, really inexpensive options. The spring fork on the front, yes, no, that's not great at all. And cable brakes, not great. Maybe we'll go to hydraulics sometime in the future, depending on what I end up with parts in the garage. But I digress. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe, turn those notifications on. We drop a video every Sunday and some Wednesdays. Lots of times it's 4x4, Toyota, Lexus, cheap and easy DIY stuff. Last few weeks it's been bike stuff, because I also love mountain biking, as you can tell. So follow the links in the description over to my Instagram, my Facebook, where I post a lot more stuff a lot more often over there. And of course, if you have any comments, put those down below. give me some advice for those tires, and anything that you want to email me about, feel free, hawkeyeskunkworks@gmail.com. So until the next video drops, thank you for watching, take care, goodbye.